Fall of Jimmy Ace, James Roseman, aka Jimmy Ace, born February 5th, 1965 in Harlem, New York, USA, but grew up in Flatbush, in the Vanderbilt area in Brooklyn. I know a lot of you thought Jimmy Ace was strictly from Brooklyn, but he was born in Harlem, USA. James Roseman, who walked among the brightest stars, was convicted of running a drug operation, obstructing justice, money laundering, possessing and using firearms. Loretta Lynch, U.S. Attorney, Eastern District of New York, said Roseman built and ran his drug trafficking organization in order to personally enrich himself and his associates. And profit he did. The paydays are over for Jimmy Henchman. Now, you see, you got brothers growing up and want to enrich themselves and their family, make a come up. It's not necessarily a negative thing. It's a good idea. I'm not going to stand here and say it's a bad idea, but what's negative is the means by which you do it. That's the problem. That's the problem. You understand? So now you got Jimmy Ace growing up in fear. Jimmy wasn't born a gangster. But I know living in Vanderbilt, you got to be tough. You have to become sometimes what you hate most. Now, what led to the downfall of Jimmy Ace, James Roseman, was a lot of different circumstances that could have happened to anyone. But sometimes we make bad choices, and the bad choices come back to haunt us. Now, from 2008 to 2010, authorities in LA and New York seized $2.8 million in drug money. 19 people have been convicted on drug trafficking and money laundering charges. Now, the investigations say coke was coming from California. Jimmy, apparently, through the game, met a brother by the name of 2 T's from the Bounty Hunter Bloods, who supplied him from 2008 to 2009. You see? So now, when you're moving around in different circles, you're making connections. Sometimes you think that these connections are solid, and sometimes they're not. with the rap industry coming in, Jimmy saw an opportunity to make money. He saw opportunity to get out the street, which he was deep in, because when I knew Jimmy Ace, and I didn't really know him like that, I mean, as far as the street cred, we had a couple of skirmishes because he was running with Vanderveer and I was running with 31st and Tennis Court. So he had a couple of problems with some of the people I was affiliated with. And through the affiliation, it became my problem also. It wasn't personal, but it was just the game that we was playing at the time, which was no games at all. So now, like most people coming up in Vanderveer and Flatbush at that time, back in the 80s, early 80s, majority of people wanted to G off. That was the terminology. People want to make a come up. So what they was doing, they was burglarizing, hitting stores, hitting cribs, robbing, jostling for certain people, boosting for certain people. But for people who was into gunplay, there was mainly robbing for jewelry, money, things like that. Rob for money and jewelry, take the jewelry to the scales, cash out, and you straight. Use that money to do other things. At that time, we didn't really have a good head on our shoulders, so we was just flossing, just trying to live. And if you study all the stories of the people that was going through things at that time, most of the stories intertwined, they locked. Everybody was basically doing the same things to survive or to try to get ahead. But in doing that, we was victimizing each other. This story of Jimmy Ace, Jimmy Henchman, James Rusman, is a tragic one. And it could happen to any one of us. So I'm not here to point fingers. I'm here to understand and to shed light on certain things that's transpiring within our communities that we need to fix. Like I said, it was a sequence of events that brought Jimmy Ace down. Now, Jimmy Ace had an association with Haitian Jack, who had an association with Puffy, who wanted to sign Tupac. So Jimmy Ace and Haitian Jack reached out to Tupac, being that they knew him, wined and dined him, took him around, and tried to influence him to sign with Puffy. That didn't fly over too well. They invested a lot of money into it. For Tupac to turn around and say like these dudes was like, he was jocking him. So now, being a street dude, Jimmy Ace felt offended by that remark that Tupac put out. He felt offended. So now Jimmy felt disrespected, so what he does, he sent a crew to go rob Tupac in the Quad Studios in 1994. Things didn't turn out right. Tupac was hit up, and this started the East Coast, West Coast beef between the two camps, Biggie and Tupac, that took a lot of lives. June 26, 2012, Jimmy Henchman confessed. He confessed to something he denied for years that he had something to do with it. He confessed that he was the orchestrator, the puppet master behind the Quad Studios attack. Now in 2014, Jimmy was convicted of murder of a G-Unit affiliate. By the following year, he received 2 consecutive life sentences for order hit on one of 50 Cent's former associates, Lodi Mack, Lowell Fletcher. In 2007, Tony Yayo and Lodi Mack attacked Jimmy Henchman's son, smacking him up. During a feud between the Game and G-Unit in 2007, the same dude that slapped, or one of the guys that slapped Jimmy Henchman's son, Jimmy Ace's son, was killed 2009 in the Bronx. Now, you see, you can't deal with legitimate business being a CEO and mogul of Kazaa Entertainment, representing Salt and Pepper, The Game, Brandy, Sean Kingston, Akon, right? And be involved, have your hands 1 foot in the street and 1 foot out. They don't mix. It don't mix. Either you're going to be a gangster or you're going to be a businessman, but you can't be both. You can't be both. Society says you can't be both. Life says you can't be both. And it's rumored, additionally, it's rumored that in 2005, Jimmy Ace had Suge shot in Miami at the MTV Video Awards party. So now you're dealing with gangsterism. It can't work. It can't mix. Whenever you try to do the two,